Welcome back, guys. Hope everybody's having a great week here on Tuesday evening at Tackle Tuesday or Talk
Talk
Fishing to me.
fishing to me. Talk fishing to me. Ba-dum-bum-bum-ba-dum-dum.
No, that sounded like the Mario theme song. Bam, 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 bam,
Bum.
bam, bam, bam. That's what it sounded like.
Well, you're welcome.
But nonetheless, welcome back, guys. We have a few things we want to visit with you about tonight. Typically, we like to give it just a minute to give folks an opportunity to join us.
Yes,
Uh,
and for YouTube to tell me that we're live on my phone.
yeah, YouTube runs a little behind schedule. They run on their own schedule.
I
There's
guess you can when you're YouTube. I mean,
there's like Central Standard Time, there's
mhm.
East Coast time, there's West Coast time, and there's YouTube time apparently.
Will you make sure that we're still on over there?
Yes, ma'am. We are still on over here.
Okay. Because Mike, we are definitely having difficulties, period. Let me know. Mike is texting. It says we're live. It's just not registering yet with.
Yeah, I don't think it has told anybody that it's live either because there's nobody here
Nope,
yet.
only shows episode 12. I know.
What is going on YouTube? So while we wait for things to get started, uh,
Yeah, I think we don't say anything cool yet because.
sorry, we can't say anything cool yet. I'm just going to talk with you about one thing while we wait on.
Let me get my laptop real quick.
You got it. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys.
While she does that, and while we wait to find out if YouTube is working at the moment, I want to take a minute to talk with you about. And I'm going to try to not get away from the microphone this time so you can actually hear me. I want to talk to you about leader. We get a lot of questions from people about what type of leader we use. And obviously, different applications, right? Different things that you're doing day in and day out while fishing will necessitate a different leader. But I'm just going to share with you what we use more often than not. Uh, Typically, we are using 20-pound fluorocarbon. Um, you can use monofilament, you can use fluorocarbon, and there's every different weight known to man. You can get 5 pound or you can get 300 pound, depending on what you want. And typically, a lot of folks stray away from fluorocarbon because it's expensive. All right. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, most of the time when you buy fluorocarbon or any leader for that matter, it's going to come in a spool with either 25 or possibly 50 yards of line on that spool. And we're putting it on, let's say, 3 to 10 feet at a time, right? So a 50-yard spool, if you're making 4-foot leaders, it lasts you a pretty good while. Um, And typically, like you can buy, let's say you're talking about 20 pound, you can buy a 50-yard spool of monofilament, like Trickfish, for example, is a brand. You can buy that. It's been a minute since I bought it, but I want to say it's like $8 roughly for a 50-yard spool of it. And then when you step up to fluorocarbon, that same 50-yard spool is now going to run you probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 rather than 8. It's easily double, sometimes triple the cost to go to fluorocarbon. And then the question is, can you tell if it's working?
We're on. Yeah.
Okay. And the question is, well, what the hell's the difference from monofilament to fluorocarbon? They're both clear, right? Well, that's true. They're both clear, but I'm going to tell you something. They're 100% in every single way different. What are you laugh? She laughing about something over there.
I'm laughing that every time we try to do a YouTube live, it is a complete cluster.
When we used to do them on Facebook, they were so easy. Maybe we
Yeah,
should go
come
back to
on
Facebook.
YouTube. We may do Facebook lives in conjunction,
Yeah.
but just FYI. Sorry, thank you for your patience.
So the difference from monofilament to fluorocarbon, and to be clear, guys, this is really kind of geared to uh, more beginner type fishermen. You guys that have been fishing all your lives, I'm boring you. And sorry, this is for those folks who don't have as much time on the water. Some of the differences. First of all, mono wants to float. Okay, fluoro wants to sink because it's much more dense. So that's a big difference depending on what type of lure you're using. For example, let's say you're using a topwater lure like this. I think this is a Yozuri top knock or pencil knock or something like that. Um, he floats on top, right? So he's not great with fluoro because that fluoro wants to sink in the water. So it makes the nose of that lure kind of dip into the water a bit and interrupts its motion a little. So on my rod that I throw for topwater, I want mono on that dude. I don't want fluoro on him. So there's one difference. Sinks, mono floats. Second difference is monofilament stretches. Fluoro stretches zero,
Yeah.
does not stretch. So some of what that means is that mono, sometimes when you're getting a bite, you might not feel it if it's a light bite because that line stretches and you don't feel that subtle bite. Fluoro is very sensitive. You're going to feel every little tap on it. Um, but that sometimes that's a weakness too, because the mono, since it stretches, you get a little forgiveness when you're fighting that fish. Fluoro may break a little easier than the mono, because it doesn't stretch at all. So lots and lots of differences. Um,
Okay.
the biggest difference being the cost. And here's this is the insider's tip. Okay, this is sort of like the
Ooh,
the
everybody, listen
pro
up.
staff tip. There's a lot of different kinds of fluoro on the market, a lot of different brands. And then even within each brand usually has two or three different offerings or types. This one, the one that I like to use is Seagar. Okay, if you're not familiar, Seagar, Seagar. You guys that have been fishing for a long, or Guar. You guys have been fishing a long time, you know about Seagar, but some of the newer fishermen might not. And Seagar has like, ooh, don't quote me on this, I'm probably dead wrong, but I think they have at least four different offerings on the fluorocarbon. They have a blue label, they have a turquoise label, they have a pink label, and they have a red label. There might even be a yellow in there too, I can't remember. And each one's a little different. They're a little bit different color line, so on and so forth. We use the red label, and I'm going to tell you why. Uh,
Oh,
it's
there's
the
a green, like
Okay,
a.
that's the yellow I was thinking
Oh,
about. Yeah,
well, yeah.
kind of a chartreuse color, orange. Yeah, there's lots. Here's the deal, though. When you look, and you got to pay attention to this stuff because they don't really tell you. You got to look. The red label is basically the same cost as like the blue label,
Yep.
roughly.
Yeah.
But if you look real closely, Aaron, and if you can verify this on what you're seeing, the blue label is how many yards on the spool?
Oh, it.
Well, they got a lot of different sizes,
Yeah, they do.
but they're going to start at like a 50-yard line or 50-yard spool. What? How much? That's a
8 pounds. Let's see.
Okay. I'm going to cut to the chase.
Okay. Yay.
Most of them are 50 yards per spool for somewhere 10 to 15 bucks on Seagull. Okay, except the red label.
200.
It's the same stuff, guys. It's the same line. But check it out. If you can see, if you can see the yardage on that,
That's true.
it's 175 yards of it if you buy the red label.
Yeah.
Same stuff, guys. Sorry, I'm away from the microphone. 175 yards, and it's the same stuff. But you get three times the yardage for the same money. Just saying. So,
Fishing hack.
so when you're ready for new fluorocarbon label, get the Seagar red label, and you're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. So, we had some friends come, some fishing friends come and stay with us this weekend, and we had a really great time.
And to be clear, these fishing friends, they started out as Salt Yak clients. Booked a guide trip with us years ago, then booked another one, then booked another one, and through these guide trips, we got to be friends.
How cool is that, first of all, that we get to make lifelong friends just by offering a service. Like, I feel like you're really good at bonding with people. And after all, we're not going to take kayak fishing with us when we die, but we are going to take our relationships. So, sorry to get deep at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. How many glasses of wine have you had?
One,
Oh, and it's
one, y'all.
empty.
Yeah, but we're
That's a
fine.
shame.
Okay, yeah. So,
So here was the coolest thing about it. So we've got to be great friends with these folks. Don't know if they're watching right now. Uh, but they came, they stayed with us. We went out, we fished. But the coolest part is they're from Minnesota, so a little bit of a stone's throw away from South Florida. Uh, and as you guys know, we always talk about sort of our hot button. At least right now, we're like squirrels. We can't focus on one thing for very long. But right now, our hot button is the inshore slam.
yes.
And for those of you who don't really know what that
Yes.
is, yeah, the inshore slam's a big deal, guys. It really is. It means that we catch three different species in the same day, and you have to have, for where we live, you have to have a redfish or a red drum if you want to be, you know, particular about it. You have to have a snook, also known as a robalo, if you want to be
Oh, I didn't
particular
know that.
about it. And you have to have a spotted sea trout, or what most folks will call a speck or speckled trout. Um, you have to get all three of those in the same day, and if you do that, it's considered an inshore slam. Now, some guys get really kind of cantankerous about it, and they say, well, they all got to be a slot size to be an inshore slam. And man, that's stratosphere stuff there to think about getting a slot on all three of those in the same day.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's a big deal when you make it happen. And the reason it's a big deal is because it's freaking hard. And the reason it's hard to catch all three,
Is because you're not a girl?
oh, okay. I was going to say it's because they're not all in the exact same place, right? We catch those fish in different settings and different scenarios. Your spotted sea trout, you're going to find him on a grass flat most likely, or on the edge of a ship channel that borders a grass flat. That's where you're going to find him in relatively shallow water. Typically, sometimes they get crazy when the water's hot; they get deeper. But and then snook, you're most likely going to find him in quite shallow water. A lot of snook that we catch are in 1 or 2 feet of water. Shallow water, hiding in heavy structure under docks and under mangroves. That's where they're going to be. Period. And they're lazy, man. Especially the bigger ones. They're crazy lazy. If he's over there where Sonny's sitting right now, if I think I'm going to put a bait out 6, 8 feet away from him and have him come to it, you can forget it. He's not gonna. You got to get it right there where it's easy, and then he'll smack it. But you got to get it right in front of him. Uh, the redfish, he's going to be in an even different spot. He's usually going to be a little bit deeper than the snook are. He's going to be in, let's say, 2 to 10 feet of water, typically speaking. And again, in structure, he's either going to be cruising through grass or he's going to be cruising under docks and trees and things like that. So when you find all three of those in the same day, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's why we have the Salt Yak Slam Club.
Boom. Yes, and if you do book a charter with us at saltyaccharters.com, and you come out with us and you get an inshore slam, you get a free T-shirt, the one that he's wearing. So it's kind of fun. It's an honor.
If you don't get one, you can buy a T-shirt. If you're a sissy boy and need to buy it, you can.
Shout out to all of the girls, because when the husband wants the girl to come and then they ask me to go for the girl, usually this is what happens, and it's really funny. The husband will come to me and say, convince my wife that she likes kayak fishing. And I always think to myself, I don't need to say one word about this. In the first 10 minutes she's on the water, she's going to tell you she likes kayak fishing. I mean,
Typically.
It has happened over and over and over again
Or
for us.
even if they don't say they love kayak fishing,
Yeah.
they, at the very least, they're going to say they love being out there in a kayak.
Yes. And so it sells itself. But the coolest thing is that I have witnessed a lot of women receive an inshore slam on their first time out with us. And that's not because of me or Will. I mean, I'm just saying, women are pretty awesome. They're rocking this sport
Yeah,
with y'all.
it's true.
So, just a
And
shout out to all us ladies.
and the simple truth is, we've had more ladies on our guide trips get a slam than we have
I
men,
know.
and that's the truth. And I think,
This is a great conversation.
no,
Why?
it's not.
No, but why do you think ladies are more apt to get an inshore slam on their first time out than a man is?
I think in our area here, I think it boils down to patience. And I think most ladies can be more patient than most men can. I can tell you that when I'm fishing hard and I get my shrimp on and I get him up under that dock, every fish under that dock has approximately 37 seconds to eat that shrimp
Yeah,
before I'm reeling it in and sending it back or moving on or something. I can't stay put for a real long time. And those of you who know me know that you already know that about me. Whereas little Miss Thing over here, it's nothing for her to come up. If she finds a spot that she thinks is juice, she'll stick that pole or she'll drop her anchor or tie up to the dock or whatever the case is, and she may sit her ass there for 2 hours
that's true.
without moving, very patiently.
Especially if I have seen a redfish roll or or a snook. If I have spotted a snook underwater or if I've seen a redfish roll on the top of the water, I'm not leaving until I catch them.
It's true.
And Will's constantly, come over here. And I'm like,
I'm like, them fish moved to the next dock. I'm going over there.
yeah, yeah. So that's interesting.
There's probably a lot of truth to that,
Yeah,
honestly. Um, and the other thing is, those three different species, some of them, like the speckled trout, he is a completely different animal for targeting. I mean, can you go out there on the grass flats and throw a live shrimp for a speckled trout? Absolutely. A lot of guys do.
yeah,
But that's not how we trout fish at all. Once we gear to trout, we put that live bait rod completely away. We're done with it. We grab a different rod that has an artificial on it, and we hit those grass flats. And we work those grass flats hard with an artificial because it's a lot more fun to catch a trout on an artificial than it is to sit on your anchor and wait for a trout to pull a bobber down.
yeah,
And you have to use a bobber if you're going live bait with the trout. Otherwise, your shrimp just go. You're on a grass flat.
yeah.
The shrimp will go down in the grass and burrow in and hide.
Oh, so annoying. Oh my
So you
gosh.
have to use a bobber to hold the shrimp up out of the grass. Well,
Yeah.
if I want a bobber fish, I'm gonna go back where I grew up and sit on the little dock on the pond and catch bluegill. Maybe a crappie every now and then.
I think we like it because we've sat still all day. At least for me, I've sat still all day to catch my redfish and my snook. And then I want to go on the grass flats because I troll. So I'm pedaling, and typically the cadence is they like it pretty slow. So, but I'm
Especially when the
pedaling
water's hot.
and moving, yeah, and I'm just out here with my pole, just barely dancing it just a little and moving really slow. But it's like it's fun because it's a change of
It's
scenery.
active.
It's active,
Yep.
yes. Trout fishing for us and the success that we've had, we do it trolling and it's very active, yeah.
Yep. And there's a ton of other ways you can catch trout. A lot of guys fish them on a twitch bait. A lot of guys fish them on a topwater plug. Uh, but just our preference, sort of our comfort zone and old faithful, is the 3-inch paddle tail. Trout can't say no to it. Any time of day, they'll eat it.
Hi, Shelby. Shelby said Aaron had amazing patience and determination. Well, thank you.
I even told Mike at one point, he and I were cruising around looking, scouting different docks and stuff and looking for the right spot. And I look over and I see the two ladies all the way on the other side of, I guess I would call it a cove where we were. Uh,
A big
a
cove.
huge,
Yes.
giant cove. Uh, and they were all the way on the other side of it. And I told him, I said, Aaron has found a spot that she thinks looks juicy. I said, and watch, they're gonna sit there until they catch the fish. I said, and they'll catch them,
Yeah.
and they're gonna sit right there until they do.
Yeah. We
And
are.
lo and behold, a little while later, I can hear them 200 yards away, woo, woo, hooping and hollering and carrying on. And here comes Shelby pedaling across the bay with a big old like a 25-inch I think redfish laying in her lap,
Yeah.
pedaling across the
And
cove.
that's all she needed to close our slam.
She was
So,
done.
to be clear, Shelby, who is new to kayak fishing in the last year, got her inshore slam by 9:04 a.m. She beat my record, which was 9:30, 10. I got one at recently. I don't remember all the times, but recently I got one at
You
10:30
had
and
one
one.
somewhere around 9.
Yeah. Anyways, she has slayed all of my records. It
And
was
respectable size too, fish too, not
right.
discs.
It was very fun to watch. I think we've talked about her several times here on our YouTube live, but like kudos to you.
Yeah, that was a pretty
She takes
exceptional,
direction
awesome day.
well. She's got good instincts on the water, and she's just good at it
There you go.
naturally.
So ladies, pay attention. Guys, pay attention. You want your ladies to go. You want your maybe you don't want them to go, and that's cool too.
Whoop.
But if you do, it's easy to do. Hey, speaking of that, if ever you guys want to book a trip, come down with us. Awesome, cool. We'll provide everything. Right? Bring your hat, your sunglasses, your smile, and your sense of adventure, and some sunscreen, and let's go. But let's say you don't want to go with us. Say you're wanting to get out on the water and do it yourself. Aaron, can you share with them what are some essentials? Like if you're a lady, or it's not just ladies, if you're anybody, but especially ladies, who's going to be new to kayak fishing and going to get out on the water, what are a few things they have to have?
Okay, well, great segment, Will, because I did bring my bag that my friend Lindsay gave me, and it says we're gonna need a bigger boat, and it also says Donna, Donna, the. Anyways, okay. I used to struggle because we get up so early to go fishing. Like, what am I supposed to bring? And
We're usually up at about 4 a.m.
my brain was foggy because I'm 49 years old. And anyways, I have it down pat now. So I want to show you what's in my bag and what is essential. Like, I'm upset if I forget any of these items, which I don't typically do anymore because it's kind of second nature to me. But number one, we use microfiber towels. When we're doing our charters, we give everyone on every boat one of these. I bring 3 or 4 at least. When you catch a fish and it craps on you or bleeds on you, this is
They
amazing.
poop on you?
They sure do.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Who knew?
Which I want to talk about later. I went to a restaurant with fish
Straight
poop
straight off the water to
with
a
about
restaurant.
8 inches of fish poop on my arm, and it was gagging me. It smelled so bad. Anyways, microfiber towels. They sell them in big, huge packs at Walmart in the cleaning section. You probably get them at a hardware
There's a
store.
hack for that too.
Okay.
The hack for your hand towels, Harbor Freight.
Boom.
At
Harbor
Harbor
Freight.
Freight, I buy those. That's a 12-inch by 12-inch towel. They come in a bag, and I want to say there's like 8 in the bag, and it's like $7.
Yeah, there you go. Harbor Freight. So then, as soon as I get home, I drop these in the wash and clean them, and it's easy peasy, okay? Definitely need your microfiber.
Also, because all of our fish, but especially the trout, they're so slimy,
Yeah.
and your hands get so slimy.
Number 2, don't leave home without your pliers. You will regret it. Fish one, okay? Um, these were a set of 2 for $20.
Like $20.
Yeah, cheap on Amazon. Will has a nicer set here, the Beyond Fishing set. Um, they've got a blade here to cut your line, and of course, a lot of times the fish, it's just hard to get the hook out, so you need pliers. These,
If you're using split shot weight, you smash the weight.
yes, or you use your teeth, which don't do that.
You look like me. You have a jacked up grill. I'm doing it.
They both come in a pouch. I don't have my pouch anymore because I don't care, but I put them right in my kayak, easy access, and they're right there. Now, when I get home, every single time, what do?
She rinses hers so they don't get salty and corroded and gross.
Every time when I get home, they're in this bag. I keep them in this bag. I bring this bag in. This goes in the wash. This gets rinsed in water and dried. So
This
that's
gets
how you.
thrown away after a little while and new ones bought because I'm not good about doing that. I like to
Okay.
leave mine in my kayak so I don't have to
Steve
hunt 'em.
Bartell, is there a time of year that's more successful for obtaining an inshore slam?
Yes, Steve Bartell. Uh, spring and fall.
Spring
Basically,
and fall.
man, just not the heat of summer. June, July, August. Right now, like we're getting it done, right? Shelby got one just a couple days ago.
Yep.
But it is a lot more difficult because now we have that midday slump to deal with. Typically, when we start fishing, the bite's super hot early in the morning, right after sunup, and we can catch. Oh, the big old gator right there.
Is he out of the
He is
water?
at no, but he's right
Oh.
there in the water.
Yeah, we have a
Oh,
gator
look at
in
him. That's awesome.
our.
I wish I
Okay.
could show you, but
Yeah,
the
we
camera
can't.
won't show well through the screen. Um, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we have the midday slump to deal with right now. The bite's hot first thing in the morning right now. From like starting, let's say we're usually at the bait shop at 6. We're usually on the water and fishing somewhere around 7.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
not like super insane about it, but
yeah, we'd like to get there earlier, honest,
the
but I like to
shrimp
buy live shrimp, and the bait shop don't open until 6, so it is what it is.
and they've been way later lately because, like we talked about last week, it's hard to find bigger
Summer
shrimp.
shrimp.
Yeah.
Yep. And then usually by about, let's say 11 o'clock or maybe even 10, that the bite slumps because it's just damn hot, and
Yeah.
the oxygen level in the water is lower because the temperature is higher. The fish are less active, and it's difficult to get bites. And then you can get bites again later in the afternoon when it begins to cool off again. So the short answer to your question is spring or fall when it's a little bit cooler.
Yep. Okay, what else I bring in my bag, and I'm upset if I don't have it, are gloves. This could be a girl thing, but I'm just going to say I prefer not to get poked by fish. Have I done it? 8,000 times, okay? I'm not a sissy about
Even shrimp,
fishing.
for that matter. You reach in that bucket
Shrimp,
blind and you're getting stabbed.
a shrimp poked me in my like cuticle the other day, and I also got poked like under my nail, and it hurts and it's annoying. It's not a big deal. I'm not a baby about it. But I like protection from the pokey stuff, right? And number two is I like to keep the sun off my hands because I don't want to look like an old lady before my time.
Before you're an old lady.
I mean, anyways, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, okay?
She's
Um,
doing pretty good.
I have 2 sets of fish monkey gloves. I've got gray and I've got the girls that they come in pink. I will tell you these are newer. They look great. I have my pink ones I've had for at least a couple years more than these.
They got some
I
miles on them.
wash them when I get home and I put my microfiber towel in the wash. I also put my gloves. I've washed them 100 times and they are still great. So shout out to Fish Monkey
Yeah,
for that.
Fish Monkey does a good job.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay. This is new for me, but Will has always done it. I want to have a net gator in my bag. I don't want, like, I wear the performance shirt, SPF, all that. I try to stay covered up as much as possible. Still, we're very tan, and we cover up a lot. But I don't want my neck to get burned, and so any kind of net gator that I can stick, because at least for women, it's harder for us to find performance shirts with hoods. Men, you guys,
To be clear, it's hard for them to find cute ones.
right?
Because they
Like,
could wear a men's and protect everything.
come on,
But
yeah. Um, if you have a problem with burning your lips, I don't know if anyone on here has burned their lips, guys included. I keep lip balm that has SPF. I have burned my lips before, and
2 or 3 times.
my lips were giant,
They
and it
swell
hurt.
up on her. It looks like she's got like a red bell pepper sitting on her face.
Yeah. So I do not recommend going out without that. And of course, as Mike discovered, I always have extra hooks with me. These are probably 2 weeks old and they are
They got
rusted
salt
up.
water in the box.
Rusted up piece of crap.
Yep.
But always, always,
I'll be going back
always.
to St. Pete Fishing Outfitters.
Yeah.
And
That's
get a box of those.
all that's in my little what's the girl just a spoonful of sugar. My Mary Poppins bag.
Is there an umbrella in there somewhere? So I want to expand on one thing she told me. I see your pliers.
Yes.
For those of you who are, newer in your fishing venture or walk, talk about different types of pliers. Let me get that microphone where they can hear me. For different types of pliers, man, there's a million different options out there. And here's what I'm going to tell you about them. You don't have to go big. You really don't. Um, I have bought over the last 3 years probably 4 pairs like this off Amazon. Again, you buy them in a 2-pack. I mean, you can get a single pair, but I buy them in a 2-pack, and I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20, maybe $25 for 2 pairs. You can't go wrong. They come with a sheath that can go on your belt. It's not a great sheath. It breaks after a little while, but that's okay. The line cutter works amazing. It's back here in the back of the jaws there. It works amazing for cutting braid or mono or fluoro. It's honestly a pretty good pair of pliers for 10 to 12 bucks. Then your next step is you can buy, like, these are sort of a middle of the road. These are by a company called Beyond, and if you know fishing products, Beyond's a company that's really known for their line, for fishing line, for braided line especially. It's called Beyond Braid. It's actually pretty cool stuff, and it's crazy cheap. They sell it on Amazon. They sell it online. It's crazy cheap, and it's actually pretty awesome stuff. Aaron, that one reel that you really like that has that high visibility orange line on it,
Yes.
that's Beyond Braid line. And I put that line on that reel like 2 years ago, and it's still bright orange, hasn't faded, and it's been on the water a lot. So I like their stuff. And their pliers, this is sort of a middle of the road kind of price point. These are somewhere around 50 bucks. And this is my second pair of them over the last few years, and I really like them. They're set up a little bit differently. You can see the line cutters on these are on the side rather than in the back of the jaws. And it is a little easier for me, especially when I'm dealing, like when we're in the kayaks, we're out on the water and it's a little windy, breezy, and you're trying to cut line and the wind's blowing it around. That little side cutter does make it a little easier for me. Also, the sheath you get is nicer than the sheath you get on the cheap Amazon ones. They stick in there and they hold in there really well. And they have a hard clip for clipping on your belt. It's really nice. So, just thought I'd share that with you about the pliers.
Shelby said, I fish the way I do because of you two. I never felt like an amateur or dumb. You made me feel comfortable and have amazing patience. I have my new hobby for life and wonderful friends.
That's awesome.
Aw. And then we have a guy that says your feet are pretty and he's not going to look at mine. So,
My feet are pretty?
Chill 843 Will, show us your feet.
Dang. He was talking to me, right? He thinks my feet are. I should take my shoes off so he can see them.
Yeah, you can't even see his feet because he's got shoes on. Fool.
But, hey.
I have pretty feet.
I'm with you, dude. I feel it.
I have the Egyptian style foot, so don't front. Okay.
You need some feet pics? Hit us up.
All right, moving on.
I know something I want to talk about.
Oh. Oh, God, I'm scared. You have that smile going.
Actually, you know what? Before I do, PSA, beep.
Boop.
We mentioned this before. This is still a soft start to this. We still haven't really made it official. But we're giving those of you who either watch these or somebody you know is going to get a quick little head start, and that's for our bait makers challenge. Guys, if you make baits, if you make in particular soft plastics, I want to develop a Salt Yak signature soft plastic bait, and we're going to do it by giving you an opportunity to enter a contest. All you bait makers, I want you to make something that you're proud of and something that is unique to you and something you think nobody else has thought about and is super cool. And you're going to send us a couple. Don't need a bunch. 2 or 3 soft plastics is all we need. And we're going to hold a contest. And we're going to test these things on video.
Wow.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to put them in the old Salt Yak test tank right here, otherwise known as a swimming pool. And we're going to check its underwater action right here. Then we're going to go out, we're going to hit it on the water on video, maybe even some on live feed, and we're going to put these things to the test. And whoever makes the bait that we think is the coolest and catches fish for us, that's going to become the official salt yak bait. We'd like to then do like a joint promotion with you, where it's your
Sweet.
product, but it's the the specialty salt yak edition, and then we'd like to buy a bunch of them from you, so that we
That's a
can sell
smoking
them.
deal. If you know anyone that makes fishing lures, pass the word on for us.
Please, password. I mean, I know if I know there's some people watching that know some folks, so pass the word on that. And we're gonna make a whole video about it, but until then. And now, speaking of lures, Erin asked me something to. Okay, so she saw a Facebook post today of Jacob Wheeler. If y'all know who that is, Jacob Wheeler's a pro bass fisherman. Dude is just like slays fish. They bass just jump in his bass boat. As soon as he gets onto a lake, they just come jumping in. And in this post, dude had a treble hook buried in his beard, and I'm talking about
Buried.
buried,
Like not able to pull out
like
at
in
all.
the jawbone. And when that happens, typically the only way to get it out is when it's sunk all the way up past the barb, is to then push it all the way through so that you expose the tip outside the skin, then cut the hook, cutting the tip off so that you're
Oh,
cutting the barb
that makes
off,
sense.
and then you can back it out. But dear Lord, what a horrible process that would be. And that brought up the conversation where Erin talked about how much she hates these treble
Dude,
hooks.
anytime I have ever had to deal with a treble hook, I cannot get it unhooked off of everything I own. I
So,
mean, how do you get that even out of a net? See? How do you get it out of the net? That's what I want to
oh
know.
yeah, you don't use your net on this. No, you're screwed. You put this in your net, you're screwed.
What
They'll hook.
fish is that catching? Why do
Set your
we
net
have
on
to
fire.
have those?
Everything.
Okay.
So, drop me a quick message, guys. Which who out there has had a horrible experience with one of these guys? Here's what I've always found so crazy, just weird about these things. Most baits that have treble hooks have at least what? Two, right? Some of them even three,
Oh,
right? I even seen
jeez.
some got four on them. This is these are both top water baits. This is a Yozuri again, top knot, pencil knot, something or other, and this I think is I think that's a head and spook, like Old Faithful head and spook. Listen how noisy that dude is. He's awesome. Both of these baits use the same way, right? Boop 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 up on the surface, and he hits the water, and you bloop, and he bloop 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 bloop. You walk the dog, right? And the fish come up and blah. How many times have you guys used a spook with three big old gnarly? Man, you really wouldn't want to get these. Look how rusty they are.
Rested. You're going to need a tetanus shot
Yeah,
after
just
that.
from this, I did get a boo boo. Anyways, uh, how many times have y'all been bloop 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 popping this thing along, and a fish comes, whether it's a bass, if for you saltwater guys, or I can't tell you how many times I've had a redfish or even jacks, they come and they smash this thing, boom, and the bait will literally knock out of the water, and they completely miss it, and then they swim away. There's 9 freaking points on these hooks, and they'll hit it and bust it up in the air, get nothing in it, get nothing in their face from all this, and then I reel it in and up in the boat because
Oh,
I'm all
God.
mad that I missed that bite, and whack, it's buried in my favorite fishing pants. Now I got a big hole in my pants and a little blood stain from where, and I finally get it tore out of there. It's in the net. And then I'm mad and I don't want to use it no more. And I hook it on the rod. I put it in the rod holder, and the dang thing is hooked up on another rod back there now.
Yeah.
And then, Lord help you, when you put a couple of rods with these guys on it, and if you're like me and you're not cool and you don't use one of them lure wallet thingam boppers, you just got a couple of these hooked on an eyelet, stick them in your truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw both of them rods away when you get home.
Hey, Steve Bartell asks, for trout, are we using the 3-inch paddle tail swim bait? Yes.
I'm using something else lately too, Steve. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Oh, and then Chill843 Will, he's back. He says, I see you guys, girls, have the Hobies. What do you think about the Hobie 360 XR Drive? I was just watching that video with Jacob. He had a bad tournament. Okay, so these are two different things. So, first of all, what do you think of the Hobie 360 Drive?
I don't really want to talk about that
That's a
right now.
hot button with him, actually. He is, I'm going to say it if you don't. He has had more problems with his 360 Pro Angler than we have with all the rest of our Hobies.
Oh, we got three 180s, bulletproof. Things are amazing.
Yeah.
I have one 360, and to be clear, man, I love that thing. What it does is awesome when it does it. It's very problematic for me, anyways. Maybe mine was built on a Friday, and them guys were ready to go home, start drinking beer, slap that sucker together, and bounce.
Yeah.
Uh, but
He's on his second hole, though.
and my boat is gimped up right now. It
Yeah.
has it has major catastrophic failures, two of them right now. It's sitting in my
Hmm.
garage, inoperable. So
Yeah.
we got a warranty claim pending, and come on, Hobie, help me out, folks. Do us right here. If they do right, I'm gonna tell you all about it, and we're gonna sing praise, and I'm gonna tell you the whole story. And if they don't, well, I may tell you that story too. But anyways, so there you go. Hope that answers your question, sort of. Um, but what, I, I regress. I digress. Who has had that happen with these? Come on, guys. Who's had a fish hit this and not get a hook in them,
I,
and then it's all over you? I don't know. I
I
don't
think
understand.
fish are smarter than we give them credit for.
Well, they're smarter than me. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so w- yesterday you came. He is a dad and he has a lot of information in his noggin, and he disperses it to me a little at a time, which is good for me because
I'm
I
I'm an abundance of useless, trivial
my brain may
information.
be a little slower than his. He comes to me with a lot of good information about eagle rays, so I wanted you to share that with people who may not know about eagle rays.
Jesus, it's National Geographic here tonight.
It might as well be.
Okay, I mean, I'm hoping somebody knows more about these things than I do, or those of you who are not sitting here trying to talk, and you can on the old wizard box maybe Google it. And you can straighten me up on some stuff here. But the spotted eagle ray is a pretty freaking awesome animal, and we've seen them numerous times when we're out. And when you see one and you're in a kayak, it's a little bit like, I
They're
mean, it's super cool, it's amazing, but it's a little unnerving because these things, they're huge. I'm talking about they're huge. And I actually looked it up the other day, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but I think it said they get up to 500 pounds, or maybe it was more than that. Somebody please Google it quick and tell
yeah.
me how big can a spotted eagle ray get. But what's cool about them is, man, these things, they're acrobats. And you'll be paddling along in your yak, and this damn thing comes flying out of the water, and it looks like a Volkswagen coming out of the water. And I mean, completely breached, absolutely out of the water,
They're
and
huge.
then goes splash, and it's this giant splash when they hit, and it's like, woo! I mean, they look like, I don't know.
Didn't you say someone was hit
I,
though?
I have been told by a couple of friends of mine that there have been occurrences. I can't validate any of this is true or not,
This has
about
been it's on the internet, so it has to be true.
boaters getting killed by spotted eagle rays. Not because they're aggressive. You're in a boat, man, and you're skinning it back. You're hammered down, blah, and you're just moving. And the spotted eagle ray comes up in front of your boat, phew, into your
Boom.
boat and hits you, and you're getting hit
Lights out.
by a 500-pound animal at
That's
30, 40 miles an hour.
crazy.
I have to think I have to think this would be like hitting an elk when you're on a motorcycle.
Now, why did they jump in the air? Why did they
Can
fly?
someone please Google that? I have no
Okay.
idea. What I actually think I looked it up, but I can't remember now what the answer was.
Huh.
Um,
I wonder if it's like the tarpon where they have a bladder that has to get full of oxygen or whatever. I don't. I'm speaking out of
I mean,
turn.
I know that like some fish jump, they breach out of the water to help get parasites off of them. If they got little fish and stuff clinging to them, they'll
And they're
come out of the
annoyed.
water to make, they're annoyed to get it off of them. Splash.
Oh.
Others I know, I've read that it's like a communication thing. Like it's a way they kind of locate each other. That big splash. Hey, I'm over here. Where y'all at? Blah blah blah. Google it. Somebody, please fill
Google
me
it.
in.
It's worth a Google.
It's worth a Google. Yeah.
Last question of the night is, do you think beach fishing is underrated, or is kayak fishing still king in the heat?
No, beach fishing is definitely underrated in our area. It's interesting because, like, if you go to Texas, beach fishing is huge. It's giant. If you go to the panhandle of Florida, up like Pensacola,
Oh, yeah.
Destin,
All the big guy YouTubers got famous up there.
beach fishing's huge up there. Um, where we live, it's not, man. Like you can go on this beach any morning, any evening, whatever. And when I say this beach, I mean any beach within 50 miles north and 50 miles south of us, so a 100-mile stretch of beach. Um, and you'll hardly see anybody fishing. There will be a few,
Yeah.
a very few, but that's it. You go over on the East Coast, or you go to Texas, or you go up the Panhandle, early in the morning, there's a ton of people fishing on the beach.
Oh.
So, and to be fair, I think part of that's because where we live down here, Southwest Florida, um, the beaches are much more shallow here. You know, here we got sandbars out 100 yards off the beach. It's still thigh deep, 100 yards off the beach. So it's tough to get your bait out deep enough to find the real fish. Uh, and I think that's why we
Hmm.
don't see that much of it here.
Back to the eagle rays, Mike said the parasite removal is one thing and courtship displays.
Oh,
Spotted eagle rays breach the water surface to be like, hey,
hello,
baby,
ladies.
look at my tail.
My tail? I mean, they do have
Well, yeah,
tails.
it's a tail.
They do have tails.
I'm just saying. I
Hmm.
mean, the ladies are probably like, dang. Chill 843 Will says, "What's your number one lure when fishing for reds that just flat out catches them?"
Bum, bum,
Oh, is
bum,
it this?
bum, bum, bum.
No.
No. Where's,
Oh, boom! He was prepared for your
it's a little
question.
dirty because it's not like a brand new one. It's one that I used the other day. But I just grabbed it because it was laying in my kayak. That's it, bud. That's all you need. It's a 3-inch paddle tail. This particular one, that's a DOA Cal shad pattern or shad shaped paddle tail. Uh, DOA is not good about naming their colors, and maybe they are, and maybe I just don't see it on the package. Uh, but this particular color, the top half is glow, right? Glow in the dark. Bottom half is clear with silver glitter juice for where we live. We got super clear water, and that thing is juice. Another one that we use a lot, same exact but different color. Excuse me. It's clear with red and gold glitter in it, and I think it mimics a shrimp. We slay fish with that. But as of lately, and this also goes to Steven, as of lately, guys, and this is a old faithful bait that's been around since Buck was a calf. And most of y'all probably think I'm kind of silly that I'm just now touting it, but maybe I'm just now getting good at using it. But I have been hammering fish lately on the DOA shrimp. Um, and those of you who know the DOA shrimp, you probably know they got, I don't know, 2 or 3 different sizes. I like the 3-inch. They got about 100 different colors. That's the dude right there. That's the juice. That's a gold glitter 3-inch DOA shrimp.
It looks delicious.
And I should I should have set up a deal in the pool to show y'all. Um, The beauty of the DOA shrimp, and I think the reason I'm finally catching fish on it, when for years, I mean, I could always catch trout on it, but that's about it. But now I'm catching snook on it. I'm catching redfish on it.
You've caught trout on it.
I caught a pretty decent snook on it just the other day. Um, Caught two snook on it when we were out with Mike and Shelby. Um, the key to this, dude, is, man, slow as Christmas. You fish this freaking thing.
Especially when it's hot out.
I'm talking about a cast might take me 5 minutes to work that one cast, and just let it. And where this bait rocks, somebody else agrees.
He says I've been hammering trout with that bait.
Yeah, well, you can hammer other stuff with it too, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
The key with this, where I see it shining, because I'm fishing really clear water with it, where I can see this sucker in the water, is on its fall, on the drop. When this thing hits the water, it has the most beautiful slow drop. It so looks like a real shrimp when it's dropping. It doesn't drop straight. It drops at about a 45-degree angle, just like this. Has a real nice soft wobble to it, and that tail just whoop, 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 whoop as it's dropping. I'm telling you, this thing is fire. So, DOA 3-inch DOA shrimp, gold glitter. Steven, that also goes for your question earlier. That's what I was wanting to tell you about. I think I've just finally figured this thing out. For years, I was like, yeah, DOA, they're fine for trout, but, well, wrong. They're good for everything. Next thing, I want to catch a tarpon on it. Probably got to get the bigger size for that, but that's all right.
All right.
There's one other thing on those same lines, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah, because you said I bought it for you, which I do not recall. I think you just snuck it up there.
That means she bought it for me. That means she bought it for me because I snuck it in her stack and she didn't know. We actually were at Bass Pro. We went to Bass Pro because she wanted to get a couple new performance shirts, and they actually do a pretty good job of having some for ladies.
They're not bad, yeah.
And that's not a place I particularly love to go, especially for tackle and such. I really prefer to get this stuff at a mom and pop local shop. But it's tough for her to find ladies' performance fishing shirts in mom and pop shops around here, anyways.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, we don't have one mom and pop shop around here.
The one thing that St. Pete Fishing Outfitters got in that was so cute, and it was the Marsh brand, and they had some little overalls, and I immediately bought them.
It's a good thing she hadn't been in there lately, because they got other ladies stuff from Marsh in there,
I need to make a trip, guys.
Yeah. But anyways, what I snuck in her pile that day, I'm going to try to hold it closer to the camera so y'all can see it. That is the Strike King spinnerbait. And, it's all about the redfish on this spinnerbait. I have not used it yet, as you can tell, because the package is not open. And this has just not really been something I've ever used before. But, I mean, for the love of God, it's a paddle tail.
Let's try it, and we'll video it.
It's
we'll
a
put
bedazzled
it on TikTok.
paddle tail. It's a paddle tail with a spinner blade over the top of it. So
you can't go wrong.
It's going to be good. Have any of you guys used this before? Let me know. Give me a comment real quick. Who has used this? Quick yes or quick no?
Yeah, and it's 7:57, so your time is pretty much up. He loves talking to y'all, just so you know. If anyone's still on here, we have 8 people watching.
Oh!
Y'all, he loves talking fishing. He would do it 24 hours a day.
And when we're done here and we put all this stuff away, we're going to go inside and I'm going to try to keep talking fishing, and she's going to be like, that's enough.
He's going to talk fishing, and we're going to eat fish for dinner.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess nobody has used that, so.
I've been catching reds of the War Eagle spinnerbait real good.
Okay. Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Now the War Eagle, does that have the soft plastic on it, or does it have a skirt?
So anyways, I don't know if we'll see his comment before we get off of here, but thank you for tuning in. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It's been fun to talk to you guys.
Yeah, all 8 of you. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
That's right. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Remember, get up off that couch. Get out there. Do something to make your day great, because life is short. And if you don't go, You don't
You don't
know.
know.
See
See
ya.
ya.